All righty, let's go to call this public hearing and regular meeting Thursday, April 20th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Deep River Planning and Zoning Commission. Go through roll call. Mike Danello. All right. Fred Jordan. Jonathan Kastner.
Hello.
There you go. Alan Parody.
Yeah.
Brian Phillips. He wasn't sure he was going to make it. Stan said he's not going to make it. Daniel Smith.
Here.
Marion Stay.
Here.
Alex Strobel.
Here.
Tony Bolduc. It looks like Dan.
I'm here.
Oh,
Fred's here.
okay. Thank you, Fred. So Dan, I can seat you for Stan. So
Okay.
you're ready to go. All right. First things first, I need a motion to amend the agenda to add two things. First, it would be number 4B, the February minutes, which we didn't approve at the last meeting. And it would be item 6C, special exception 447 Main Street, assessors map 59, lot 14A, per section 4.30.27 for dog grooming, and that would just be to receipt and set a public hearing.
So move to adjust the agenda to include, this is one is an acceptance of an application, Tony,
Yep, and one is just to add the minutes.
and to add the minutes.
Fantastic. Looking for a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Marion. Fred,
Yeah.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
and Alex.
Yes.
Fantastic, guys. Thank you. All right, on to number 3, public hearing. Item A is a special exception SE 23-02, 110 West Elm Street. Change of use from residential to light manufacturing with accessory retail in the Village Industrial District. Applicant is Allison Sloan. Is the applicant here to kind of go over what she's after? Okay.
You're muted, Allison.
I didn't see her on the thing.
Can you hear me, guys?
We can.
Okay.
All right, can you just give us a little spiel about what you're looking to do?
We're looking to move Ashley's Garden into this house. It's 2,200 square feet. We're moving out of 3,500 square feet. We only have unfortunately, about 4 or 5 walk-ins a day. And so we don't need to have the storefront that we have over at the industrial park, and we certainly don't need to have all that property once the animals move into the animal sanctuary.
Gotcha. All right.
And so mostly we are going to be doing a little bit more exclusive. We'll be doing more events, weddings, and funerals, things like that, as opposed to being a retail florist.
Gotcha. Okay.
Kind of just changing with the times.
I hear you. All right, so being a public hearing, gonna open this up to the public. I'll let the commission jump in after that. So anybody in the public want to make comments for, against, neutral? You guys gonna say sick of me saying this, but I can do it 3 times just to be redundant. Anybody from the public in favor, against, neutral? Just want to say something?
This is John Wojtovich. I'm neutral.
Yep. Go ahead, John.
Just saying, I was neutral on it.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry. Thought you were going to add something to that. Just all right. One more time. Anybody in favor, against? Any comments? Neutral. All right. Commission members, questions, comments?
Tony, I've got a couple.
Yep.
One is, I know on the application, I know we're adjacent to wetlands here. Do we have wetlands sign off? I didn't see
Um,
that on the application.
I don't think any construction activity is proposed. It's a,
No, we're not doing
internal
anything to
building.
the footprint at
Okay.
all.
So the second concern is actually the site plan that's shown is this is the Pickers lot, right? Which is Village Industrial. This site plan is not showing the actual lot that you're looking to modify. Is that correct?
No, I gave, there is an actual one that we put in there. Hmm,
Yeah. let's-
yeah, I mean,
No construction.
we're not doing any construction. We're adding 3 parking spaces to the front.
Okay, and so the adjacent lot that you're talking about is actually moderate density residential. It's not village industrial. Per our zoning map.
The people that are on West Elm, those are the only people that are our neighbors.
I'm gonna check it on the GIS right now. Where am I? Too far.
Otherwise, we're not adjacent to anyone. And where the house is very far away from their house. Obviously, they've been notified, but and it will in no way encroach on them at all because we're not changing the footprint. We're not changing anything.
I think,
It's
Alan,
lot
I think you're
50
thinking of this house versus this one.
I don't see what you're pointing to, Tony.
I'll reshare.
There are two lots that are alongside that
Yeah,
common drive, both of which in the map that we've got.
there you go.
Okay,
So the one we're talking about is that 56A, and the house is
Uh-huh.
over to the far left. And the other people are way on the road.
so what zone is 56A in?
That's light industrial,
The village industrial, yeah.
That is village industrial.
village industrial, yeah.
Yeah, this other one, there's one house to the right of it that's in the residential zone.
Okay, I may have an outdated zoning map. I didn't see the reconfiguration. Okay,
Okay. Let's see here. All right, whoops. Anybody else from the commission? Questions, comments, concerns?
I
Okay,
certainly don't think that it's going to encroach on anybody's property rights. Because there's, that's basically a manufacturing, they're going to be doing mostly wholesale stuff. Without a lot of retail, and actually, it fits in along with the thrift shop on the same driveway, which is, got a lot of activity there, so I don't think it's gonna hurt anything there. In fact, I think it'll complement the area.
all right. Anyone else from the commission? All right. But one more time, anybody else from the commission, questions, comments, concerns? You guys feel you have enough information to close the public hearing, and because you can't ask for any more information after that.
So moved.
Thank you, Jonathan. Looking for a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Fred. Alan,
yes,
Daniel,
Yes.
Marion,
Yes.
and Alex.
Oh, yeah.
All right, on to item B. Special exception, 112 River Road, new 4,000 square foot single family residence in the Gateway Conservation District. Applicant Tom Lentine. And I hope I got that right. And is there an applicant here to go over this?
Investigation. And so he's acting the way whistleblowers are supposed to.
Anyone?
When So it's really, I think, important.
Okay. Am I missing somebody who's muted?
I don't see anybody speaking up.
All right, maybe we'll wait and jump over to the 3-lot subdivision and come back in case somebody shows up.
Hello?
Nope,
Oh, sorry.
no worries.
Is your camera on?
I don't think
Sorry, we're having slight technical difficulties.
No
here.
worries.
Let me know.
All right, I don't know if we should just,
Good evening. I am not the applicant.
Yeah.
I am a concerned neighbor,
okay,
and I understand you're waiting for the applicant
we
to
are.
make the proposal. But while you're waiting,
I gotta shut you down until they're here to even open this. So we may have to bump this until next month if they don't show up. Which actually, I'm just gonna jump onto the next application. If they show up, I will come back to this. So I guess we'll skip this for now. Item C, subdivision application, 3-lot subdivision at 277 River Road, map 71, lot 4B. Applicant Thomas K. Boyd and Catherine B. Jernosior. Sorry.
Close enough.
Thanks, Bob. You want to share your screen or you want me to do it?
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
All right, you were the host.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Sorry for the delay. The property that we are discussing is at 277 River Road, 26 Doan Road, and it contains lots 4 and 4B on tax map 71. It is a 22.11 acre parcel comprised of actually 2 parcels. There was a conveyance of a driveway that split parcel 4B and 4. 4 is on the left where my cursor is, and 4B is on the right. 4A is a lot that fronts on the river. And several years ago, 4A was created with a right-of-way for the driveway. The right-of-way was conveyed to 4A, and that inadvertently did a subdivision, and that created lot 4 on the left and lot 4B on the right. We are here tonight to divide lot 4 into 2 lots. Lot 1 being a 4.7 acre parcel, and lot 2 being a 5.49 acre parcel. Lot 3 is an 11.84 acre parcel. Lot 1 and 2 currently have houses on them, driveways. Lot 1 fronts on Doan Road, lot 2 fronts on River Road, and lot 3 fronts on River Road. And we show a proposed, a hypothetical house location on lot 3. And we have done soil testing on the properties, and we have an approval from CRAD, the Connecticut River Area Health District, for each of the lots. We have no wetland activity, and back in 2022, we submitted to wetlands. It was determined that because of that activity, we did not need an inland wetland permit. The one feature that you see in green on this plan is 3.5 acres of open space. We are proposing, pursuant to section 4.12.2D, we're proposing a perpetual conservation easement on primarily tidal wetlands, with an access strip, an easement that runs along the existing stream from River Road. We initially spoke with the Deep River Land Trust, and they were so kind to visit the site with me, and they scheduled a special meeting to review the conservation easement. And unfortunately, I didn't open the appropriate email, and I missed that meeting. But the long and short of it is that, and let me see if I can pull that letter up. This is, I received an email on April 17th from Lori Giannotti, the president, and signed by all the directors of the land trust. And probably the most germane paragraph is the center paragraph, and I'll just read it into the record. After a long discussion, which would have been facilitated by my attendance, I did apologize for missing the meeting, but the Deep River Land Trust is one of the smaller land trusts in Connecticut. As such, we have very serious concerns about our ability to monitor, enforce, and defend a conservation easement on these wetlands, where future wealthy neighbors might take legal action to challenge easement restrictions. We realize that the ecological value of this wetland area will likely diminish over time under the circumstances of rising sea levels. Consequently, we are unable to protect the area by accepting the conservation easement. They do recognize the importance of this conservation easement, and I'll go up to the paragraph above it and just again take out a paragraph that is in the letter. The tidal wetlands on Mr. Boyd's property, like others along the Connecticut River, are internationally recognized as critical habitat. And there's a reference to the estuary and tidal wetlands complex. And though they are technically protected by our state or State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, we are aware of many violations and strive to add a local layer of protection. So they recognize the importance of the conservation easement. However, they acknowledge that it's difficult to oversee. Having received this email that's before you, I called Gateway Conservation Commission. I spoke with Sam, the director of the Gateway, and asked him, I'm sorry, Sam Gold, asked him about other entities or trusts that would possibly be the recipient of the conservation easement, or do we follow your perpetual easement paragraph in your regulations and convey the easement to the town? Sam mentioned that Gateway Conservation Commission does have a vehicle for acting as a land trust and accepting a conservation easement. He and Margot Burns are reviewing the options, and he will be getting back to me. But it is our intent to convey the conservation easement to an acceptable nonprofit organization as required by your regulations. The configuration will stay as shown on the plan. It meets the, I was going to give you the width of the access. It meets the intent of my conversations that I had with the Deep River Land Trust. It's just not a fee conveyance. It does have we do have a 60-foot access strip along the existing stream, and then which is part of the 3.5 acres total, which exceeds the the 10% guideline as far as the area of open space. Oh, there was one other thing I did as far as fire protection. I did speak with the fire marshal, and or from the fire, Adam Karup from the Fire Commission, Assistant Fire Chief, and we investigated water sources for fire protection. There are none in the area. So what we would like to do is put a provision in the subdivision and make the construction of the house on lot 3 subject to an individual sprinkler system inside the house. And if the houses on lots 1 and 2 are modified, part of the modifications would include installation of sprinkler systems. This is very similar to the subdivision that was approved in 2017 that included a lot that I've discussed with you guys before, which is 108, and a lot that you'll be discussing after this conversation. So we'd like to follow the same procedure that was required for that subdivision. There are no public improvements proposed. The referral to the Gateway Commission when the site plans are developed for the construction on lot 3, that site plan will be sent to the Gateway Conservation Commission for their review and comment. With that, I will stop and entertain any questions, and I see some hands are raised. And I can stop. Well, I'll leave this up. If you want me to bring up another document, I can. I have others open.
Okay, I mean, I have a couple questions, but I'll open up to the public first. For some reason, I can't get rid of my participants to see everyone. There we go. Still not working, huh? Okay. Oh, you know what it is, Bob? It's because you are the host. Can you make me?
You want me to stop sharing?
No, leave the share up, but if you would just make me the host again, or I think I can take it back, actually.
I'm not sure how to do that, but I think I have to stop sharing, right?
Give me 1 second.
Bob, you click on participants. And if you bring up that window, then click on Tony's name. There you go.
I grabbed it. We're good.
You
Okay.
got it?
Yep. So Marion, I'm going to skip over you because you're a commission member. Jerry Roberts is from the Gateway Commission. You have your hand up. Please go ahead.
Sure. Just to correct, I think for your minutes, Bob, Sam Gold is not the head of Gateway. He is the head of Rivercog.
Oh, yes, the director. Yes. Yeah.
And Suzanne Thompson is the head of Gateway. So,
Correct.
I mean,
Yep.
we work very closely with Sam because they provide our administrative backbone, but just for the records, he's not the head of Gateway.
Yep. Yep.
Anyone else from the public? Questions, comments, concerns?
It's Lori Giannotti.
Yep. Go ahead, Laurie.
I would be concerned to know if there actually is an agreement from the Gateway Commission to accept that open space. I would like some assurance that the open space is being accepted by somebody.
Lori, that is what I intended to say, is that Sam and Margot are in the process of reviewing that. And
So
they,
you don't have a commitment right now, though.
no,
That's just to be clear.
no, we don't. And we also have other, Sam also suggested the Middlesex County Land Trust would be available. But he thought that this might be an opportunity for the Gateway Conservation Commission to actually have their first, I guess, I think that's what he told me, conservation easement.
And just to be
being
clear,
the
this is
stewards
not,
for it.
it has not come before Gateway at all yet.
No, it hasn't. Jerry, that conversation took place today.
Thank you.
Okay. Fred, I'm going to skip you for a minute. Just keep it open for the public. Anyone else? Excuse me. Anyone else from the public? Questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, just John W. I just kind of reiterating what Lori said. I'm just very curious to see what ultimately happens and if anyone will accept this conservation easement.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public? Questions, comments, concerns? All right, hearing none, I'm going to open it up to commission. It looks like Marion, you were up first.
Okay, I'm just interested in the delineation of the lots so I can understand. So has between lot number 1 and 2,
Mhm.
has the adjoining lot line changed at all?
There, Marion, we are proposing this red line that I'm following with my cursor.
Mm-hmm.
That is the line that we are proposing. This is all one lot now
Okay, so it was one lot with 2 houses.
with
on
2
it.
houses, and we're proposing to divide it.
Okay. And the lot that is, I think, 4A and back, and I don't want to massacre the people's names, but the lot with the driveway.
Yeah,
The house was, according to the assessor's map, was constructed in 1950. So the history of that particular lot minus the right of way. Did it exist? Is it a real
no,
lot?
that lot was broken off of this entire parcel.
Like a free split?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, yep. And that was a free split. It's been modified slightly since the initial free split. And then the driveway was conveyed to it. And that's why we have this, these two lots here right now.
Okay. With the new lot, on a previous drawing, you've got the green lines, and so I would like to be clear what they convey.
These green
And,
lines?
yes, and initially I thought that the conservation easement went all the way to the property line. As I'm understanding your presentation, there's going to be some area where the owner of the property could, I guess, ask to create a dock or gain
Correct.
access to the
Yep.
river.
At one time, we had the connection to the conservation easement on the east side of the property. And when we were out walking the site with the Deep River Land Trust, we talked about maintaining some sort of connection to the river for lot 3. So I changed this to an unobstructed connection to the river. And the land trust and I walked out of the tidal wetland area up the stream, and it was discussed that we should, instead of having access conservation easement here, I moved it over here, and it has less of an effect, if you will, on the proposed house, because this is the envelope that the house will be constructed. And so this green dashed line is a conservation easement. This is 60 feet wide, and then it opens up over the tidal wetlands at the edge of the river, and it goes to the river.
Is it walkable?
This is very walkable, yes.
Okay, I mean, so because with conservation easements, generally you don't allow clearing. And
Correct.
so
Yep.
you would need to walk it. But
Yep.
that
No, this
whole
is-
lot would also take in the space between the far green line and the driveway right away. So it's a
yeah,
fairly
it's-
large lot.
And driveway right of way. It's just driveway now. It's a field. So this lot 3 is this entire parcel.
Okay. I was, again, that's my comment at this point. I have some others, but I don't think I'll mention them right now.
Fred, you got your hand up?
Yeah, the conservation easement indicates public access, I assume?
No,
No?
no.
So this is just, what is that, what is the advantage to that other than that the people with the adjacent properties don't pay taxes on land they can't use anyway? If the public can't access it, other than, yes, it's nice to preserve wetlands property, but they couldn't develop it anyway.
Correct.
Okay.
Seems a shame that direct riverfront property can't be, that's put into a land trust can't be accessible by the public, is my point.
Okay. It's following the perpetual easement guidelines in your regulations. This whole area is tidal wetlands. And it's not like, it's not a usable area to invite or to have public access. It doesn't lend itself to that. It's for the preservation of the tidal wetlands.
Well, it doesn't sound like it's buildable anyway, so.
No, it's not.
All right. Anybody else from the commission? Questions, comments? If not, I'm going to ask one question to continue this line of questioning. So quickly, I had the letter in front of me somewhere here. So I just was
Do you want me to bring it back up?
no, I got it in front of me. I'm just going to read the last part of the letter. So it says, this is from the land trust. We are willing, however, or excuse me, we are, however, willing to consider a donation of this land. I've attached our guidance document to help you understand what additional information we would need to consider a donation. And it goes on to list what they're after. Is there a reason that it couldn't be donated? Is there a reason they were pushing more towards the easement and not a donation?
Yes, it's the owner's desire to maintain ownership of the property. The Boyd family has been in the past very generous with donations and strive for conservation. These are very large lots, and the current owner, Tom Boyd, and his sister prefer to own the property and are granting a conservation easement in accordance with your regulations.
Okay. We got a bunch more hands up. Daniel Smith, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I just, to be clear, the section of lot 3 between the driveway and the proposed conservation easement, what is there right now?
It's wooded.
And do they plan to build in that area?
No.
That was
No,
all.
this is where my cursor is now. I'm following the 100-foot review area, upland review area from the inland wetlands. And this is most likely the envelope that will be built on by the house for lot 3. Okay. This wetland area that I'm tracing right now is a stream, a freshwater stream that flows from River Road down to the tidal wetlands. The access to the conservation easement is a 60-foot wide easement that runs roughly parallel to the stream that runs down the hill.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jerry, you got your hand up? You're muted if you're talking. I don't see it.
Yes, sorry, real quick. I know Gateway won't get very involved until housing lots start being laid out and their effect on the Riverview, et cetera. However, in order to sell these lots, will there be clear cutting of these woods like took place when 108 was sold further along the river? So will there be cutting done to enhance the property view corridors for potential buyers?
No, there's no intention to do clearing before until the lots are conveyed, and then they'll be back before you to discuss however the lots are developed.
Thank you.
All right. Marion, you get your hand back up?
Yes. It's again, I'm not sure who to ask this to, whether it's the land trust or Bob. Along the boundaries of the conservation easement, some either conservation commissions or land trusts do signage to clearly articulate where that land is. And I would think it would be important, especially for between I mean, it's important for all parties just to know where this is.
Yes,
Um,
I agree.
does that happen and how do you do that?
And it happens. And as soon as we have the name of the land trust that is taking over the conservation easement, we will get there. Typically, a land trust has their own placards, and we get those and we put them on trees that run down along the edge of the easements. And where we do not have trees, Marion, we'll put a post in and put a conservation easement sign on it so that you can see from one sign to the next and you'll know where the boundary is.
Okay.
All right, Alan, you got your hand up?
Yeah, it's just because I'm a little bit slow, and I didn't pick up on your explanation initially. The in regard to the fire protection, it sounds like in order to meet the condition for the fire protection of the homes, the burden is placed on the individual existing houses on the lot, that they would have to install a sprinkler system. Can you just clarify that for me? How that works? Is that a burden that goes with the property when it's sold, or is that something that would be a condition of selling the property? I'm just not understanding. That's all.
It would be a condition of the approval, and it would be part of the subdivision. So any house and it would be part of their building permit, actually. They would have the mechanical system for the sprinkler system.
Okay, so that's just applying to new construction.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? Fred, you get your hand back up?
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to see what the point is. If the land's not buildable, what the conservation easement accomplishes other than giving the owner of the property who's not giving up the ownership of the property. I would assume it gives them a tax incentive. Somebody want to make that clear?
Yeah, actually, when you're going through a subdivision, the open space that's granted in conjunction with a subdivision is not a tax benefit. It's part of the development. If they were to, and I'm not, I'm not an attorney, and I don't intend to play one. It's my understanding that there is no benefit when it's associated with a subdivision. And it's very important, and it's the land trust. That's why I read the sentences that identify how important it is to establish conservation easements on tidal wetlands.
Who pays taxes on the land now?
The Thomas Boyd and his sister.
Who will pay taxes on the land after this is granted?
Thomas Boyd and his sister.
Okay, that answers my question.
All right. Anybody else from the public or the commission? And then if not, I was going to make a recommendation. We'll see how the rest of the commission feels.
Oh, where am
All right. There are none. I personally would, I take what the land trust or our land trust had said to heart, and I think we should continue this to next month until they actually have somebody to accept the conservations. I don't know how the rest of you guys feel about that. Marion, you got your hand up?
Okay, I'm unmuted, sorry. I agree with you that it should be continued. And I think what I would like, again, because part of these plans are so tiny on the computer, was a little bit of a discussion about the potential house site. Is it going to be a walkout basement? Just, I know that we don't know or won't know
Yeah, we
the
don't know
actual
yet,
house
Mary.
configuration, but a little bit of possible grading, so we know what it could look like.
Well, I positioned it so that you could do a walkout. I have it on, it's relatively flat coming in, and then there's a drop, and I put it there, and then I have a sanitary system on a relatively flat area. So it's in an area that would accommodate a walkout without significant grading. And but to even guess at what the house shape would be, and to do a detailed grading plan, the house fits on the lot with the the driveway that sets the house back about 80 feet from the roadway, and then the lot slopes from River Road all the way down to the tidal wetlands, and it would be a house that's put into the embankment, and most likely it would be a walkout.
Can you do, again, I know it's not, it can't be specific, but just something in general, so we know what the slopes are.
Sure, I can do that.
It's hard. I don't know if commission members want to do a site walk. It's hard to envision exactly what the property looks like, I guess.
Anybody?
That's all.
Okay. Anybody else have comments or questions, or want to do a site walk? It's up to you guys.
I had a quick question, if you don't mind, Tony.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
This is for Bob. Are you requesting any waivers as part of this subdivision proposal?
No.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I think we're all. I'm assuming we're in agreement, since Marion backed me up on this one. If you guys are all right with that, I'd look for a motion to continue this to May 18th, so we can get clarification.
Tony, was it resolved if you're going to have a site walk or not?
I put it out there. I didn't hear anybody.
Okay, all right.
I'm assuming we could just all do drive-bys and individually.
Yes, it's very easy, since these two lots already have the houses, and this is fairly obvious. The driveway to the adjoining house is right near here, so it's obvious where it is, in between the stream and the adjoining driveway.
Okay.
All right. Looking for a motion to continue to May 18th.
I'll make the motion to continue to May 18th.
Thank you, Marion. Looking for a second.
Second.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Hey, Tony?
Yep.
I'm sorry, before you vote on the motion, I just wanted to add it in terms of discussion, to suggest perhaps that in addition to the applicant's quest to find a taker for the conservation easement, that they also provide a proposed offer of fee in lieu should they not find one, so we have options.
Thank you. Very reasonable. Fred?
Yes.
Where am I on the list here? Daniel?
Yes.
Marion, you put that in. Oh, sorry, Alan, I skipped over you.
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
All right. Bob, we'll see you on May 18th.
Great, thank you very much.
All right. It looks like we'll give item B, special exception 23-03112 River Road. Did an applicant surface for this? All right. I guess we'll look to continue this again to May 18th. Looking for a motion.
I'll make the motion to continue.
Thank you, Marion. Looking for a second.
Second.
Thank you, Daniel. Jonathan? He was there. Jonathan?
Just Jonathan.
You yay or nay on the continuance?
Yay.
Thank you. Alan?
Yay.
And, oh, Fred, I skipped you. Sorry, Fred.
Yes,
And Alex.
Yes.
All right, that concludes the public hearing portion of this. I also ended up skipping audience of citizens by accident. So if there's anybody in the audience who wishes to discuss something that's not on the agenda, you're welcome to do so now. All right. Hearing none, skip again, back to approval of minutes, which is item number 4. Item A is March 16th, 2023, regular meeting. Everybody have a chance to eyeball those. Any corrections? If not, looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Fantastic. Looking for a second. All right. I'll make the second. Fred?
yes,
Jonathan? Bless you.
Yes.
Daniel?
Yes,
Alex?
Yes.
Alan, I skipped you again. Sorry.
Yes.
All right. All right. And item B, February minutes. Everybody have a chance to go over those from last time? And if not, looking for a motion to approve, or if there are any corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Looking for a second.
second. I'll
second,
second.
Thank you, Fred. Jonathan?
Abstain.
No, that's right. Sorry. Alan?
Yes.
Daniel?
yes,
And Alex.
Yes.
All right. We are on to old business. Item number 5, old business. A, special exception SE 23-02, 110 West Elm Street, change of use from residential to light manufacturing with accessory retail in the Village Industrial District. Applicant Allison Sloan. You guys need that map back up. I will put that on the screen. And anybody have any discussion? This thing, come on, share screen. Okay, there we go. All right. Anyone? Commission members?
I think it's appropriate to the area.
All right, thank you, Fred. You guys got no comments? Guys, we're looking for a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
Fred, is that you?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. Looking for a second.
second,
Thank you, Daniel. Jonathan? I'll give him a second. Alan? All
Abstain.
right. Marion?
Approve.
Alex?
Approve.
All right, and Jonathan, back to you. Give you the opportunity. Okay. Well, you've been approved. So I guess we're on to, well, both of those are off the agenda. So on to 6, new business. Item A, subdivision application, 2-lot minor subdivision at 22 Kelsey Hill Road, map 59, lot 6-6. Applicant Sean and Jennifer Scott. Is there an applicant here to go over this? I'm gonna close some of this stuff and hopefully get the right map in front of me.
Yes, I'm here, Gene Rabita for the applicant.
Hey, do you want to share your screen? Do you want me to try and bring some of this up?
Actually, yeah, why don't you bring the site plan up? That'd be great.
22. Give me 1 second here. That's not it. Let's see. Is that subdivision map? Nope.
Tony, I can get it if you.
can you guys see that, or am I sharing the wrong screen still?
Can't see it.
There we go. How's that?
Better.
All right. Please proceed.
This is the property of Sean and Jennifer Scott. The property is 23.97 acres. It's located at 22 Kelsey Hill Road. Their residence is also located at 22 Kelsey Hill Road, but they want to subdivide it to build a retirement home in the back of the property. If you go to sheet 2, which is, I'm sorry for
Nope, no worries. Not that one. We'll get there. This one.
yes. Their existing residence is on Kelsey Hill Road, and the proposed lot is behind the pond. We submitted this plan to the Connecticut River Valley Health District, and they approved the project on May 24, 2022. We applied for an inland wetlands permit from the town of Deep River and received approval at their October meeting for the application, approving the lot, the layout of the lot and all the components of it. I came before your commission in, I believe, November to discuss the application and to discuss open space and open space requirements. And one of the items that came up was if the fire marshal has looked at it, and they had not, but they have subsequently looked at it and stated that there is a viable water source. There's actually a dry hydrant in that pond, and that they have no problem with the subdivision. All these approval documents are in the application package, as are the 3 plan sets. The first plan set that we saw shows the whole lot. This set shows the 2 individual lots, and the third set is just the details and construction notes regarding the development of the lot. The other item that we discussed at the meeting was the open space requirements, and one was the fee in lieu of open space, and the other ones were other options available. After that meeting, I met with the Deep River Land Trust on site, or contacted them, and they walked the property and determined that it's the nice property in the back, but it's difficulty accessing this property. There was no way to access it. The only frontage that the applicant has is what you can see on the road. And after that, they replied with an email saying that they were not interested in obtaining the property. I met with the town, I met with Angus, and he also said they liked the property, but again, there's access requirements that aren't available. I mean, there's no real way to get to the rear of the property where the open space would be. So then we pursued the fee in lieu of open space, and Sean and Jennifer Scott hired an appraiser to get a fair market value of the land, and that report is included in the application package also. It's like a 20-page document. And the appraiser stated, the appraisal report is dated March 3rd, 2023. And it determined a fair market value of the property, of the land of the property of $120,000. So the applicant, Sean and Jennifer, wish to pay the 10% fee in lieu of open space, which would be $12,000.
Okay.
We tried to find options of how to make that open space work for something, but it's the way the property is configured, yeah, Route 9 is to the west, and there's a subdivision, Sylvan Terrace, to the east. And there is an old trolley track that is on the northern boundary of this property, which would be ideal, but it's owned by another property owner who does not wish to share access.
Yeah, I walked that with the land trust. The trolley track part is really cool. That it's, yeah, I figured they wouldn't share access with you, so. Anybody else have questions, concerns from the commission? This is not a public hearing.
John, just had a question. The is access mandatory?
I think in this case, because it would just end up being a landlocked piece of property.
And is that a bad thing?
If there's no way for the land trust to get to it, to protect it, to maintain it.
Does it need to be maintained? Is it suitable as just habitat and a buffer from the highway?
Well, it needs to be monitored, certainly.
I had to restart my computer because I had the open space regulation open at one point. But I believe it's that is one of the requirements. And the fee in lieu of, I mean, they are offering fee in lieu of open space, which is an acceptable alternative. Any other questions, guys? I'm gonna see if I can grab the regs real quick. I know this bar down in here. Open space.
I think it was, oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
I don't see that that is one of the requirements. However, just going to go on a limb here. Land trust did say that they wouldn't accept it without access. That was one of their requirements.
That is correct. The town also.
Yes, and the town, that's right. I forgot you talked to them too.
Yep. I just find it. I see the applicant trying to, meet the intent with a reasonable piece of property. And a subjective opinion is that it's not good enough. So I mean, I'm kind of looking out for the interest of the property owner here. They've done their due diligence, and it's coming down to having to make a cash payment. Would a right of way to access that property be acceptable? A right of way for purposes of monitoring and access?
I think, I'm going to go on a limb here. I think that was discussed, and they didn't want, people using, because there is a separate driveway. Didn't think they wanted people traversing their property.
I think that if I understand your question, you're just saying a right of way, just like on a yearly basis to observe the property to make sure it's okay. Is that what you're asking? Or if,
yeah, I mean, see, not necessarily for public use, but I think the clarification that was made by John was that they would need to have access to monitor the property, not necessarily to provide use of it. So, I don't fully understand the regulations and the ability to refuse a piece of property that's offered, especially because I would see value to this property because it's a significant buffer for the other properties that are developed on the adjacent area where we have more dense residential development. That's all.
Anybody else? Go ahead, sorry.
I think the applicant would be happy to grant a right of way for a yearly observation purposes to the property as opposed to paying the fee in lieu, but it didn't seem like it was a viable option. I mean, I talked with John and I discussed this in detail and
Right. Again, the town wasn't interested without access. They weren't just interested in taking an easement without public access on the town side. And I don't know if Lori Giannotti is still here from the land trust to speak to that end. But my sense was the same. So again, you know, the effort was made, and I think that's commendable that Gene and the applicants did their due diligence. But if you have no one interested in holding and maintaining and monitoring the easement, you have to look at other options.
Correct. And I mean, that is why we put that in the fee in lieu of open space in the regulation for properties like this. Dan, you got your hand up?
Yes, and that's actually what you just mentioned. It was put in with a purpose. I mean, it seems odd to me that you have a regulation that somebody would have to comply with, and you're like, well, only if we feel like we want it. We don't, you know, what's the point of the regulation if they're not going to accept the open space?
So a lot of the times the land trust wants, you know, a piece of property that abuts another piece of property or something that could be, you know, added to in the future. You know, this piece of property, I don't think is ever going to, there's nowhere else for them to grab property to extend their open space, which is why the fee in lieu of is in there. And again, these guys have tried with the town, with the, you know, with other people. You know, and that's their purview, is to see if it's property that they're interested in.
Well, I guess another way to frame it is, and I'm in alignment with what Alan said, it's the buffer. It's probably a habitat to, you know, like 10,000 things good or bad. And simply by saying, all right, that's open space, you can come in and monitor it with our easement. I think that fulfills the regulations without, and it turns that other option of the $12,000 into more of a penalty.
Yep.
I would expect that the other option is for somebody that doesn't want to surrender an open space, I guess is what I'm saying. If somebody says, well, I want to build this, but I really don't want to give me open space, you know, how much is it going to cost me to shell out just to make everything go away? But I don't see that that's the intent with this.
Right, but that's, so that is our purview. There's, you know, if somebody says, you know what, I want to develop every piece of this property, I'm going to give you a fee instead, we can still say no to that too.
Yeah.
So the option is there to say no.
And if I might, Tony, and not to be sort of flip about it, but you know, I think we can agree that there's value to that land. But I mean, unless, you know, Alan and Dan are willing to charter a nonprofit land trust and take responsibility, there are no entities that have said, you know, eligible entities that have said they would step up and take it. And
I guess it has to be an eligible
but
entity, John. It has to be an eligible entity.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, because it couldn't be a matter that we go in and buy an easement and make sure that it's following, you know, they don't have any debris there, that they're actually leaving it alone. It wasn't just like open space, but it's the back of the property, wink, wink. We can't monitor that.
So the item B in the open space portion of the subdivision regulations is deeded to a nonprofit organization acceptable to the commission. Such nonprofit organization shall be a private nonprofit, non-stock corporation. You know, when the language goes on.
And then the language is reflected in D, which is the same for an easement rather than a fee in lieu.
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, a fee simple.
All right, thank you. Again, I wasn't here when it was put together, and some of it gets lost in the text, right?
Yes.
So see, there's other things behind it. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Anybody else from the commission? All right. If not, look for a motion. Anyone?
I'll make the motion.
Alex, that was you, I believe. Thank you.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, was that a motion to approve the subdivision and accept the fee in lieu?
I thought we were going to do a public hearing.
Yeah, this is still new business, right? What are we actually making a motion on?
So a minor subdivision does not require a public hearing.
This is not a re-subdivision. This is the first subdivision, which does not require a public hearing. There are no public improvements. So there's really there's no sort of engineering analysis that needs to be done on roads or drainage or things like that.
But do we even need to vote whether they're gonna do the loo? I mean, if that's the acceptable option, then wouldn't they just pursue it since it's not getting the land, just pay it?
Yes.
So we don't need to
That's
vote.
what they have presented to us, so yes.
We don't, I mean, do we even need to vote on that? That's what I'm asking. Do we?
We're gonna vote on the whole thing, so.
I just want
Alex-
to, just given the conversation back and forth, I would just wanted to make it clear in the motion.
Alex,
Yeah,
You
no, I
got it.
realize that's, yeah, let's, tell them who to make the check out to. I don't mean to, I don't mean to make a, make a
we get
mockery
it.
of but like, let's keep it moving.
Okay. We need a second to Alex's motion.
Second.
I'll second.
I think Jonathan beat everybody. Fred,
I'll second that.
it's already been seconded. I need you.
Then yes, yes.
No worries. Alan,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
and Marion.
Yes.
All right. You guys are good to go. Congratulations.
Excellent. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Item B, text amendment to section 4.29 of the Deep River zoning regulations, village commercial, to allow for private school. Petitioner, Connecticut Coastal Academy. This is just receipt and schedule a public hearing, which would be May 18th. Looking for that motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Marion. Looking for a second?
I'll second it.
I think that was Alex that time. Fred,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Alan,
Yes.
Daniel?
Yes.
All right. That is for next month. Item C, special exception, 447 Main Street, Assessors Map 59, Lot 14A, per section 4.30.27 for dog grooming. This is again, receipt and set a public hearing for May 18th.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Alex. Second?
Seconded.
Thank you, Daniel. Fred,
Yes.
Jonathan? He's on roll.
Aye.
Alan
Yes.
and Marion.
Yes.
All right, on to item 7, reports. ZEO.
So I'll let Steve talk also, but I just wanted to mention a couple of things. We're in process. We are still pushing for the town to move forward on an online permitting system. And part of that financial push is an increase in land use fees to sort of offset some of the cost for annual maintenance of the online permitting system. And so I would, and we did some digging on this and determined that we do have to go to town meeting to modify the fee ordinance. So I would suggest that the path is we present at next month's meeting a proposed fee schedule revision, and then ask this commission to act on it and request that the selectmen put this on a town meeting agenda. So wanted to just flag that and let you know that that would be our intent for next meeting.
John, I have a question for you. So regarding that, I believe the next town meeting is before our planning and zoning meeting. So is there any way we can get that done before that to make things simple?
Well, I mean, if you want to put, maybe get consensus of the commission to authorize us to, propose a modest but updating of the fees and present that on behalf of the commission without a fuller discussion.
Yeah, I'd make that recommendation based on what was presented to the selectmen previously.
Okay.
Is that
I think,
Alan, could you make that a motion?
Do we need a motion or we just have consensus? I know it was presented to the selectmen to go that direction in regard to increasing the fees to be commensurate with other towns, but also to keep our budget balanced. I know that what we presented was a reduction in our overall budget, and it seems like our budget will be reduced further from that, and this might keep us whole.
I would feel better as a motion, just to, if you don't mind.
Well, before you make a motion, then you might want to provide a little more background on it as to what was presented to the selectmen, because I'm not sure all of the commissioners were at that particular selectmen's meeting.
Tony, if I might.
Yep.
I'm sorry, just for information.
Mhm.
We do not need that money in this year's budget. The steep grant will cover the installation and the fee for the first year. So next year's budget is when we need to have that in place. It would certainly, if we are in fact below surrounding communities with our fees, we should go move this forward, but there's not a rush to get this into this year's budget. We don't need it in this year's budget. If we move forward with this installation, we do not need to have that $7,500 in the budget. We will need it the following year, but we don't need it in this year's budget.
I know, but so I kind, to Alan's point, is that now it looks like we reduced our budget because it's not on the current budget. It just, I feel like every year planning and zoning takes a lot of heat and
no,
we're
let me
not
ask
getting anywhere.
I understand that, but let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Did you reduce your budget in order to accommodate this, or did you reduce your budget because you do not need to spend the money that you were spending? That's a very important question.
It is, and so, but here's what happens at two Board of Selectmen, or excuse me, Board of Finance meetings, we had lowered our budget and then they needed an increase, and they go, "Oh, you reduced it last year, why do you want it back?" So the Board of Finance is
Yeah, I don't remember that. The Board of Finance is very,
yeah.
is
So I don't want to have the reduced and then go back to them and plead, hey, we need an increase. That's the only reason I'm trying to.
No. I'm there. That's a good point. But to stick with my point, if you're reducing if you're reducing your budget, I mean, why are you reducing your budget? Are you reducing it to accommodate this, or are you reducing it because you do not think you're going to have the legal costs that you have been budgeted for, or you don't think you're going to have the engineering costs that you have been budgeted for? And then if in fact you do need them, you can always come back. If we get a large subdivision that comes in front of the town and demands engineering review that we are not budgeted for, then we go back and we say, this is what we need. And that's easy. And our Board of Finance understands that type of thing, and frankly, appreciates the reduction that you don't anticipate needing.
So
all I'm saying is that adding this $7,500 to the budget now is not necessary in order to install the online permitting. That's all I'm saying.
All right. I'll take that for face value. And you're right. We are reducing because we're getting rid of fees that we don't actually need. But even with the $75, we still have a reduced budget. So
yes, that's right.
So it sounds like you're in favor of moving forward with the online permitting, and we'll address this as a budget item next year to continue it.
I'm absolutely in favor in moving for this. That's why we put this type of thing into the steep grant. My concern is, the budget, basically. I'm not concerned at all about it, other than how are we going to pay for it? You guys have offered an excellent solution to it. We know that we have already got it paid for the first year. So let's install that solution that is equitable anyway. It makes sense to move that way. If we are in fact lower than every other town, we should check that, but let's put that in place. Let's put a presentation in front of the Board of Finance, in front of the town, basically, that says, this is what our neighbors, let's take the 12 towns around us and say, this is what our neighbors charge, and we charge substantially less.
So I
Yeah,
think that.
I think I agree. I think we should put it in front of the town as Angus
Yeah.
recommends.
So I think that the question is just the timing of it, and if it makes sense to try to just piggyback on the fact that we're having a town meeting in May, to go ahead and get the fee ordinance in there while you're dealing with ordinances, or if there's any reason to wait if we're all sort of heading in the direction.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have the timing. We will be having the town meeting for the budget is generally a pretty involved and focused on the budget. I've never had any other agenda items that I know of on that agenda, but a town meeting is easy to schedule. It's a couple of weeks. We can do that.
I'm sorry, I've been looking for, because we did have the surrounding, I think, 5 towns when we presented this to the Board of.
I don't remember
Finance.
seeing that, but that's okay. Yeah, I don't remember seeing it. That's fine. We have to put it in front of the town anyway. And
Yeah.
all I'm suggesting is that we have a good amount of research in front of the town, so we can say, this is why we need to do it. This is what we should do.
All right, what do you?
Whatever you guys decide, you decide. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood it's not an emergency that we're going to put it off for another year. It's really just a matter of getting it in front of us so that we can understand that we are in fact low in what our fees are, and that we are able to cover the cost in the future. This year, we don't have to worry about it, but in the future years, we will.
All right, anybody else from the commission have any feelings on this? I mean, push, don't push.
Make it so, Captain.
So you want to make the push, Alan?
I think we should just go ahead and present it.
Okay. So we're going to give John permission to do that? Or are we going to do it ourselves? Are we trying to make the May? Or just do it throughout this year?
I guess I would, if Angus has strong feelings about keeping the town meeting agenda simpler, we can push it, but I don't want to, lose momentum on it.
I don't want to lose momentum either. And my fear is, I've said that. So, do you think it's something we can get in front of them by May?
Well, I suspect we'll have additional town meetings in the relative near future. We can piggyback on the next one. So perhaps we take a pass on this one and develop it, have some discussion in conjunction with the selectmen and gain consensus before we put it in front of the town.
Okay.
That's well said, Alan. That's precisely what I was asking. I do, not asking, but suggesting. I do think that I know that we're going to have a series of town meetings over the next few months.
Okay. Anything else from the CEO? CEOs, sorry.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. Steve, you want to?
Can we have an update on 400 Industrial Park?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so there was a preliminary hearing, more like an organizational hearing about the DEP permitting process for their expanded permit. We intervened or as a petitioner for a public hearing, and at that session, the applicants and the DEP both floated the idea of mediation to kind of talk through this rather than going through sort of a formal hearing procedure that would certainly get contentious because of some of our concerns. And we agreed to participate in that mediation so that the whole public hearing process is paused for now, and we will proceed through mediation, at which we will have a seat at the table. So hopefully our concerns will be heard. And Angus and Tony and I were there to listen in. Thanks for reminding me, Fred.
Thank you. Steve, I know you said prior to all this that you had something you wanted to add to this. I thought.
I didn't specifically, but
No.
I'll just kind of piggyback on your discussion about the fees. I think in general, what we targeted for an increase in fee was a blanket increase of $20 per fee across the board for zoning permits issued. So that could be captured in the form of like a services fee, basically for the online permitting, and justified through the increased convenience and accessibility of the permitting software, being that we have somewhat limited hours, and the convenience of being able to submit online, which would generate between us and the building department around $12,000 per year, roughly, based on the amount of permits that we receive. So in terms of what we're asking for the fees for, generally pretty simple, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, just quickly off the top of my head, I remember specifically like Chester and I think Essex both have a completely different setup for fees, so it would never be apples to apples. So they charge like a flat fee of $20, but then they also charge $2 per square foot of up to of whatever you're proposing. So like their applications end up being like $1,000, not $50 like we have. But I'll get all that research back in front of us. But just so you know, on the screen is what our existing fixed fees are. But we'll re-go through this. Marion, POCD.
Sorry, I forgot to look at my notes. We're dealing with housing and looking at the population as the housing needs are there, if that's a kind of a convoluted sentence. And we will be dealing with that again for the next meeting. And then we'll move on as people feel comfortable. I think the main issues are just where affordable housing can be located, and who the affordable housing is geared to, whether it's single people or young families. And we were just basically last meeting discussing the needs and the affordable housing plan that John's company had dealt with or proposed passed last year. Anybody else? I mean, Fred is there, John's there, Steve is there if you want to add anything. So is Tony.
I think we have a pretty good group that's working really well together.
Yeah, I think we're going pretty good.
So,
and thank you for taking care of all that too. Number 3, attorney. Anything from those guys?
Yeah, I'd put in, well, not an update, maybe this is correspondence and invoices. We did get an invoice from them.
Gotcha. All right. Chairman, I have nothing. Budget, we're just talking about that. Item 8 is payment of bills. I lost my place on here.
There's
Wonder
2 invoices, yeah, in correspondence and invoices. One from Heller and Sage. Oh, you got it up. Okay, good. For $1,937. This is a multiple month. This is basically probably the last 5 or 6 months of services regarding a bunch of stuff. A lot regarding 400 commercial. Actually, the final legal counsel on the noise matter at the lace factory, and a couple of other minor matters. This kind of covers basically 6 months worth of legal services.
All right.
And then there's also a Jacobson invoice.
That's going to do separate.
Oh, okay, cool.
So motion to pay the Heller and Sage bill.
So moved.
Thank you, Marion. Looking for a second.
Second,
Daniel? Is that you? Who seconded? I'm sorry.
I did, Daniel.
Okay. Fred?
Yes.
Jonathan? Jonathan doesn't want to pay the bills. Alan?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
Thank you, guys. All right. Jacobson invoice.
Aye.
Okay, so
Thank you, thank you,
so this
Jonathan.
is just strictly to, you'll remember, we asked, for the release of the final, performance bond, for the, Hoop Hole Hill Road subdivision. And we needed, Jacobson to go out and inspect the final, I think, performance of the cul-de-sac extension.
All right, looking for a motion to pay this bill, 140.05.
So moved.
Thank you, Marion. Looking for a second.
Second,
Thank you, Daniel. Fred? I think Fred's eating. Jonathan? Oh, skip him.
Aye.
Thank you. Alan?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. I think, with that being said, the only thing left is an adjournment. So motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Jonathan. Look for a second.
second.
Thank you, Daniel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, guys. You all have a good night.